So the story I had from the other video, the last video that I was recording. Um, so I used to work at GameStop, and this is something that I saw. This was at least probably 13, 12 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago when I was working at GameStop. Pokemon, here you go. Pokemon Leaf Green. I'm pretty sure it's Pokemon Leaf Green. January 29 of 2004, 2004. So that's when it was. It was 2004, 2006. So that was 15 years ago. And 16 years ago. Golly, I could have had a kid that was 16 years old by now. But anyways, yeah, I remember Pokemon Leaf Green came out, and mom came in, and she was like, "Hi, I need 2 copies of Leaf Green, please." And I was like, you need 2 copies?" And she had 2 kids with her, and I was like, "You need 2 copies? Okay. Yeah, it's for my kids." I was like, you could get like, there's a Fire Red, right? You could get Leaf Green, Fire Red. They would have 2 different games. They could play, and they could swap Pokemons or even swap games, and you'd get basically the full experience. And she's like, "No, no, no. If I don't get them the same thing, they're gonna fight." And it was just absolutely like appalling to me because the way I was raised, my parents, like Asian parents, like, dude, there's no way my mom would have put up with that shit. She would have been like, "You're getting one game, you're sharing it with your brother and your sister, and if y'all don't like it, if I hear any fighting, I'm gonna toss it in the river." you know, like that's just culturally what was, I don't want to say acceptable, but that's just culturally what made sense. It's like, dude, look, you're getting this. You're lucky to be getting this. And if you're not happy, then go to hell because you can have nothing instead. So it's just, I don't understand, man. I don't understand how it really is a cultural difference. Like, I really don't understand how that is. Like, I think that's seen as like I had a friend I was talking to. He said that's seen as fairness, right? That's fair. That's fair, David. That's fair. He gets one and he gets one, and that's American fairness. Is that everybody gets one? But like, I guess that makes sense. But I also, and this goes back to my last video where I was talking about like just people in America feeling like being spoiled, and I don't want to say the E word, so I'll just say spoiled and like feeling like they're like they deserve everything. But yeah, man, like culturally, how do you change that? Is that something that you can even want? Like people like in America don't even want to change, right? They want like, oh, I get a game, you get a game, you get a game, and you get a game, and you get everybody gets a game of their own. It's theirs. They can call their own. But like they don't work for it. Like those kids didn't work for their game. There's no sense. There's like life lessons. It sucks because there's a lot of life lessons that they just don't teach you in school, like at all. School systems suck as far as like teaching you about life stuff. Because like one thing that really hurt me, and this is again, no one you can blame, but like when I went to college, I didn't know anything about money management at all. It's sad, but I was like 18, 19 years old, like college for the first time, living on my own, and then just bam, credit cards came flying in the mail. I was like, "Oh, credit cards, cool." And I had like in within the first year, I probably had like 3 credit cards, and I was just rotating them and juggling them, and I didn't even have a job to pay them off, but I was like, "Okay, go ahead, just swipe, swipe, swipe." All of a sudden I could not afford, but I could buy all the things that I couldn't buy when I was 18, like living at home. It's like, oh, I want a digital camera. Were they digital cameras back then? May not have even been digital cameras. But like, I wanted a camera. I wanted to take pictures back then. So I was like, shit, I'll buy a camera. All of a sudden, I had a camera. It's like, oh, cool. This is gonna make my life better. But I had no um, life skills as far as how to manage it, how to pay off. Like, like even in high school, like I wasn't allowed to have a job. My parents didn't want me to have a job. I probably didn't want a job anyways. I didn't want to work, but like they were like, you need to focus on school. You need to study. Get all your studies in order. And I was like, yeah, whatever. But like I never had that. I never had that like, oh, okay, I work my job. I make up enough money. I have disposable money where I can go buy stuff. I can go out with friends and eat, and then on the side start putting money away because there's this new game I want or there's this new system I want. It's bad. I'm terrible at like being responsible and saving up for stuff. It's terrible that I'm like that, and I've gotten a lot better, but dude, there's some stuff that I'm really still have shortcomings with. Yeah, and it sucks, man, because I feel like I didn't learn any of that growing up because of you don't learn like that's not something they teach in school, right? Which I really feel they should. Like public schools, I'm sure don't do this, but maybe there's some sort of private school where you like deposit some money into your account and you just use it a little bit, and just kind of gauge. Every week you get $10 and you can spend that $10 on whatever you want to eat. And if you want to split, it's bad, it's terrible, man. I wish I would have learned those skills a lot better. But yeah, so going back to yeah, I mean just little stuff like that. I mean, I just don't know how kids are going to grow up and be in a better situation if they're not taught these things. Like this is why one of the reasons why I can't wait to have kids. I can't wait to like go through these lessons and teach them correctly so they don't make the same mistakes that I did. Man, because yeah, I don't know. Going back to the whole Pokemon thing, is that something that, I mean, is that something that y'all got? Like, because for me and my brother and my sister, we got one thing and we shared everything. Like, we weren't allowed, like, there was no such thing as, oh, you get a Dreamcast and you get it in your room, and oh, David wants a Dreamcast too, we'll put it in his room. It's like, no, you got a Dreamcast and you can put it in one room, and if the other person wants to play it, they have to be allowed to go in there and play it. So, yeah, that's how it was. And my brother was cool about it. He was like, yeah, sure. You want like I remember my brother, he went out and bought a PS2. Like he bought a PS2 with his own money. He waited out in the cold launch day to get a PS2. I'm so proud of him for doing that. It was awesome. And then he got the PS2, and then like I was going off to college and he was like, "You want to take my PS2 with you?" And I was like, "Can I?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I took the PS2 and use it in college as a DVD player. Sharing, man, family. That was always the norm for me. So it's really, really weird to see other systems work that aren't like that. I guess that's the way of putting it. Okay, thanks for listening. I'll see you again. Bye.